Guys, Tyson here from Relax Running, and the World Indoor 3000 meter final has been run and won, and I gotta say, it lived up to all the hype. Now, going into this race, we knew that there was a number of athletes who, if they had a great race, could finish in the top 5. If they had the race of their life, they could potentially finish up with a medal. We had Mikhail, we had Germa, we had BAREGA, we had Ramsden, we had Scott. There were so many athletes who were in absolutely hot form in 2022. In fact, going into the heat of the men's 3000 meters, of the 35 entrants, 11 had already broken 740 this season. However, the favorite for the race had to be Olympic 10,000 meter champion from Tokyo last year, Salomon BAREGA. In his past, Salomon had won a silver medal at the World Indoors in Birmingham. He was also the Olympic 10,000 meter champ. He's got 26:49 next to his name, and he seems to be good whether it's fast or whether it's slow. He was going to be an incredibly difficult man to beat. So it was going to be interesting to see how BAREGA took these things into consideration to give himself the best opportunity to win this race. But with a clear understanding of the risks that a tight field would play in his ability to win this race, BAREGA took out the pace relatively fast. He wanted to stretch this field out. He took it out fast and allowed those who wanted to follow, but smartly. Like we saw in Tokyo last year, BAREGA doesn't like to just sit out the front and leave it all to himself. He likes to share it around a little bit. So after having the lead for a little while, he slowed down the pace, he waved some competitors past, and then he just sat in pretty. They went through the first kilometer in 2:35, which at the level that these guys are running at isn't incredibly quick. The second K slowed down even more, with the athletes going through in 2:39. At the level that these guys are running at, 2:39 leaves the field fairly open for medals, fairly open for the victories. We know that most of the Africans in this pack have an incredible ability to be able to really sprint that last 150 meters. So we knew BAREGA wasn't going to want to let it come down to a 150 meter sprint. It seemed to be just a matter of time until he decided to take it up. It was with 3 laps to go that he decided to do that. He hit the lead and he started trying to wind up the pace, and wind up the pace he did. Though a field of 6 still came around with 600 meters to go with him, BAREGA looked comfortable. He looked as though he was confident in the position that he was in, and he looked as though he was refusing to give up the lead. He didn't want to have to run wide. He didn't want to have to push and shove. He wanted to have a clean path ahead of him when it came down to that last 400 meters of the race. And that's exactly what we saw. With 400 meters left, BAREGA seemed to continually just pick up that pace, using that 10,000 meter foundation that he has in his legs to be able to really test some of these shorter distance runners. With every 100 meters that he passed, that pace seemed to only pick up. And then with 200 to go, 1 lap, there was one of the most noticeable moves from BAREGA as he sprinted. He came a little wide on the back straight, forcing any athletes who wanted to go past him to have to run slightly further than what he was going to run. And with that, sealed his first gold medal on the World Indoor Circuit. Perhaps no surprise to any of us who had been following this race closely, Germa had sat on his countryman's shoulder for most of the race and tried to outrun him. He didn't quite do it and finished second in this race, just a couple of steps behind BAREGA. In third place, perhaps standout performance of the race, was UK athlete who's been tearing it up on the indoor circuit for this early part of the season, Mark Scott. What an incredible race, just a couple of steps behind the 2 Africans, and a breakout performance in the young British athlete's career. Overall, it was one of the most incredible races. Sure, we saw the Olympic champ finish in first place. We saw fellow countrymen finish in second place, and a surprise packet finish in third. But for you, was there anyone who stood out? Any athlete in particular you thought had the race of their lives? Let us know in the comments below. It'd be great to hear from you about who you thought really stood out in this particular race. What did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? Guys, I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, and I hope you're looking forward to the men's 1500 meters, which takes place in not too long now. Let us know in the comments below. We'll continue that conversation down there. Hey, make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We've got new running videos coming out every week. And before I go, huge shout out to the great man from Ethiopia, Salomon BAREGA.